Good morning, everyone. Welcome to TourRadar's weekly Wednesday webinars. We're not going to get started just yet. I see a few people trickling in, but we'll get started soon. So good morning, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from today. Thank you. We're going to give it just one more minute. I see people still trickling in, and then we'll get started on TourRadar's weekly Wednesday webinars. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Being cognizant of everyone's time, we're going to go ahead and get started with TourRadar's weekly destination spotlight series with Canada's Alberta. Joining me today is Ryan Elliott. He's the Business Development Manager for Tourism Alberta, and he'll be walking us through everything wonderful about this beautiful province of Canada. Before I get started, I do want to point out there is a questions section. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them throughout the session. We'll spend the first part talking about Alberta, and then we'll spend the last 5 or 10 minutes going through how to book beautiful Alberta on TourRadar. So with that, I will pass the mic over to Ryan.
That's great. Thank you, Kimberly. And good morning, good afternoon to everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm really excited to share a little bit about my backyard, which is the beautiful Alberta, Canada. So I just wanted to start off really quickly. Obviously, Alberta's got a long heritage and history with their Indigenous people. So I just wanted to start this webinar off with a land acknowledgement in the spirit of respect and reciprocity and truth. We honor and acknowledge the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, including the Siksika, the Kainai, the Kadi, as well as the Tsuut'ina and the Stoney Nations and Métis Nations 3 who roam these lands and who are here long before us. So let's dive into Alberta. So for those who don't know, obviously we are due north of Montana. We are one province in from British Columbia, and we really are a year-round destination. Today we're going to kind of touch on more of the spring, summer, fall itineraries and things to do in the province, but we are definitely that year-round itinerary, year-round destination, and there is tours on TourRadar that service all 4 seasons. So you will see a number of packages and tours that run through both Alberta and BC. And one of the things I like to highlight is that we're the only province in Canada that actually has no provincial sales tax. So for those guests, especially that are doing the itineraries through both provinces, get them to do all their shopping in Alberta. They'll save on the tax and they can spend more money on their holiday. And also, no matter what year your guests are traveling, be sure they're packing some sunglasses. We have some of the highest and biggest number of sunny days in all of Canada, with just over 300 each and every year. Now, Alberta is a really special place. We actually have 6 UNESCO World Heritage Sites spread across the province. I'm going to speak to a few of these today, but just wanted to highlight that as the diversity in Alberta is unique from north to south, east to west. There is packages that TourRadar has that covers the entire province, but just so you know, there is something definitely for everyone in this province. Now, there is also an incredible new food, beer, and food scene that's emerged in Alberta. Lots of farm-to-table restaurants, amazing culinary scenes that you'll see in the cities. And one of the most unique things for us as well is that we've got these incredible barley, hops, and wheat that are growing in our prairies. We combine that with our fresh mountain water that melts from the glaciers. And because of that, those 2 ingredients combined have made this huge emergence of spirits, distillers, and beer across the province. So definitely, as your guests are traveling through Alberta, ensure that they're spending some time stopping in at one of our distilleries, stopping in at one of our breweries to sample the very best of Alberta. We're also known, obviously, for Alberta beef. Our AAA Alberta beef is some of the best on the planet. And again, that tied in with those farm-to-table accessories makes for a great dining and culinary experience. So getting to Alberta, there's a couple of packages obviously on the TourRadar site that highlight one of the best ways I think to come into the province, which is by rail. So I wanted to show you this really quickly just to kind of get an idea. This is one of the routes that go from kind of Vancouver up into Alberta, and generally the starting or end point for the rail is either in Vancouver or in Banff or in Jasper or vice versa. And there's 2 kind of main ways in via rail. One is with Rocky Mountaineer. Rocky Mountaineer is the luxury train. You only travel during the day. They will stop for wildlife along the way, and just a phenomenal way to enter the province. The Rocky Mountaineer will stop both up in Jasper or in Banff, and you can start or end your tour from there. And the other one that TourRadar has packages on is via rail as well. This is a little bit of a different experience as the train travels overnight. This one also only travels up to Jasper, and then there's packages you can take from there to experience the rest of the Rockies. But just 2 totally different train experiences and a phenomenal way to get in and out of the province. So today I'm going to just do a kind of a quick circle around the main areas that TourRadar packages are centered on, which is kind of from Edmonton all the way down to Calgary. Now, Edmonton and Calgary are kind of the 2 main entry or departure points for the province. Edmonton is Alberta's actually capital city. It's home to Edmonton International Airport, great air access as well as via rail. And what I'd like to show here is this is Edmonton's River Valley. It's North America's largest urban parkland. It's actually 22 times the size of Central Park. It's a natural oasis away from big city life, opportunities to rent bikes, paddleboards, segways. So just a great stop for those itineraries to start or end your client's trip in Edmonton. And one of the main entry points as well for Alberta is Calgary. So Calgary is south of Edmonton. YYC is the international airport, phenomenal air access both internationally and into the US. And it's got a ton of vibrant downtown character. It's filled with neighborhoods, winding rivers, vast green spaces, and it's full of lots of secrets and surprises. This really is a great place for your guests to enter or leave the province, and I really encourage your guests to try and build out an extra day or package in and around the Calgary area. This is also home of the Calgary Stampede, which happens every July, and there's lots of packages on TourRadar for that as well. And in both these provinces and across the entire, in both these cities and across the entire province is really our culinary experiences. It's that farm to table dining experiences that we have, including bison, beef, barley, and honey, which Alberta is actually the 7th largest producer of honey in the world. And there's some great ways to experience the food, whether it's on their own or through taking an Alberta food tour when they're in the cities or out in any of our mountain towns. So looking into Jasper, Jasper is the largest of the Canadian National Park systems and is one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Jasper is really known for these big wide open spaces, a phenomenal place to escape, unwind, relax, go hiking, or even see wildlife, especially for those tours that are running in the spring and the fall seasons. That's when is the best opportunity to see wildlife like bears, elk, moose. They're all sitting down kind of low in the valley. Now, Jasper is also known for the 2nd largest dark sky preserve and is actually one of the most accessible dark sky preserves. So especially for those guests that are coming into the big cities, they will never see skies like they will in Jasper. And this isn't having to hike way into the backcountry to see. You'll see these skies right to the doorstep of their hotel. It really, truly is a phenomenal experience just to see the dark skies in Jasper. Now, one of the main sites and attractions that's on pretty much every tour that runs through the Rockies and into Jasper is Moraine Lake Cruise. This is a phenomenal place to go, and a self-guided, or it's a guided tour on boat operated by Pursuit that takes you through the Moraine Valley and the Moraine Lake to Spirit Island, which is one of the most photographed islands on the planet. Here, guests can get off, do a little walk around the island, and really take in the nature and the scenery around them. Now from there, itineraries tend to head down the Icefields Parkway, so between Jasper and Lake Louise. And the Icefield Parkway is considered to be one of the most iconic and scenic drives in the world. It's filled with waterfalls, glaciers, and lots of wildlife. So on the tours that run between Jasper and Lake Louise, there's definitely going to be many stops set up for your guests, places to get out, take in the scenery, and take some phenomenal photos. If you are booking one of those self-drive itineraries, definitely recommend, although it's a 3-hour drive on Google, they'll definitely take a little bit longer than that for all the stops they want to make, stops for wildlife. And then of course, the one attraction that's on everyone's itinerary is the Ice Explorer on the Athabasca Glacier. This truly is a must-do and wow experience. Guests actually get to get on this incredible ice bus. It takes you out onto the glacier itself. You can feel the glacial winds. You can actually sit down and drink the glacier water as it's melting around the platform there. And just a truly unique way to get into nature and really experience and see the glaciers of Jasper National Park. Now, this is also generally tied in as well with the Glacier Skywalk. This is a self-guided walk that takes you to this cantilevered platform that's about 920 feet above the Sunwapta Valley. This has beautiful views across the valley and definitely a must-do as well. So this stop is located halfway between Jasper and Lake Louise, and is definitely a must-do. So from now, we're heading down the Icefields Parkway, and we're going to get into Banff and Lake Louise and Banff National Park. So one of the first stops on many of the tours is Lake Louise. Lake Louise is a tiny little hamlet that is centered around the lake at Lake Louise. This stunning lake has a beautiful backdrop with a Victoria Glacier in the back, and obviously has the iconic Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise at the doorstep. It's the only hotel that will ever be built on this lake. And for those with a keen eye, you might be wondering, hey, that's a different lake color to that lake color. And you are right, but it's actually the same lake. And the cool thing about Lake Louise is actually this lake changes color throughout the year. Depending on the glacial melt, depending on the silt in the water, this lake changes from a blue to a purple to an aqua to a light green. So depending on what time of year your guests arrive, the lake will actually be a different color. Now, one of the most interesting activities to do in Lake Louise as well is the Lake Louise Summer Gondola. This is included in many itineraries. It takes guests to the top of the ski resort with beautiful views back across the valley to the Chateau Lake Louise. It also goes over top of a grizzly bear habitat, so great opportunity to see wildlife roaming right underneath your feet. Then between Banff and Lake Louise is about 45 minutes, and Banff really is kind of the epicenter of all the activity in the Canadian Rockies. There's vibrancy. This is where lots of hotels, incredible food and dining experiences are to be had, and it is surrounded 360 degrees by beautiful mountains. There's also a range of bars, shops, lots of art galleries and museums as well. Now, Banff actually hosts about 4 million guests each and every year. But even though it hosts that many people, it's actually really easy to get around. In the summer, we've actually now pedestrianized Bear Street, which is parallel to Banff Avenue. Banff Avenue is now pedestrianized as well. So walking around downtown Banff, which is about 3 blocks long and about 2 blocks wide, has become much easier for your guests. Easy to walk around for looking for dining, shopping, doing those arts and galleries and museums. And again, all set in that beautiful backdrop. And on the TourRadar side, there's also tons of hiking itineraries. Banff is one of the most phenomenal places for hiking. It's why when I came out here, I stayed and I still haven't hiked even close to everything that's out here. The beauty with hiking in Banff as well is you can get away from those busy hotspots that we see in the summer. With a few minutes into the wilderness, you're gonna only see kind of a handful of people throughout your hiking day, and take in some beautiful scenery along the way. Also recommend hiking in the fall. This is when you start to see these beautiful larch trees in the background. So take a look at those itineraries that really are falling into that fall period. The scenery year round is stunning, but in the fall is just at another level. And one of the other things that's really prevalent in pretty much all the itineraries that run through the Canadian Rockies is the Banff Gondola. Whenever someone comes to Banff for the first time, I always take them here as well. This gives you 360-degree views at the top of Mount Sulphur. And is really just a great way to get your bearings, orientation, and just see these stunning views of Banff and the Bow Valley. Now, if you want to wow your guests as well, be sure to tell them to dine at the Sky Bistro. This is located right at the top of the mountain. And as you can see, it has some of the most stunning and beautiful views in the entire Bow Valley. So that's kind of the, just really quickly, some of the main bits of Banff, of Jasper, where most of your guests will be coming through the Rockies. And I'll touch a little bit on Edmonton and Calgary. But I also wanted to touch really quickly on some of what I find are some hidden gems. And TourRadar has some great itineraries as well that service these areas of Alberta as well. So one of the first ones is from Calgary, about almost 3 hours south, right on the border of the US, is Waterton Lakes National Park, and it borders Glacier National Park in the US. So the drive between Calgary and Waterton, lots of distilleries and breweries to stop off along the way, and just some stunning prairies on the drive down. But as you can see in Waterton Lakes, stunning views, beautiful vistas, and just a little bit lesser known part of Alberta. Waterton Lakes National Park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's also an International Peace Park and a Biosphere Reserve. There's stunning views here. There's amazing hikes for all abilities. And then most of the tours as well will also include a boat trip, which actually goes all the way down the lake, behind the lady standing in the picture there. And you actually cross into the US on the boat trip itself, staying on the boat, of course. And one of the things to do, one of the top things to do in Waterton as well, is to stop in for a high tea here at the Prince of Wales Hotel. The guests take in beautiful surroundings. We're overlooking Waterton Lake, and they get to sip on hot tea, dine on scones, and some delicious sandwiches. So definitely something to think about as either an add-on to other itineraries, or as a starting or ending point for your guests. Now, the other one I wanted to mention, which not too many people know about, is this is a phenomenal day trip. So for those guests that have done, say, the Edmonton or into Jasper and and Banff and done the Canadian Rockies, and then are going to look to fly out of Calgary, I recommend actually taking an extra day and doing a day trip, which goes a little bit east of Calgary out to Drumheller. Where they can go out and actually visit the Royal Museum of Paleontology. So This is one of the world's largest displays of dinosaurs. It's the Royal Tyrrell Dinosaur Museum. It offers a wide variety of creative fun, educational programs, and it really brings that prehistoric past to life. Here, clients can learn about the amazing number of dinosaur fossils and discoveries in this area, and they can actually go outside and look for bones and fossils themselves in the surrounding canyons. Now from there, they can head just a little bit south, and a lot of these the TourRadar cells encompasses this as well, and they go into Dinosaur Provincial Park. Now this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a truly unique and unexpected landscape in Alberta. Guests are really always blown away by this surreal landscape that emerges in front of them. When you drive into the Badlands, you're actually driving through prairies, and it just looks like fields and grass, and then all of a sudden the whole world drops and it opens up into this just incredible surreal landscape ahead of you called the Alberta Badlands. And in the summer, what's really unique here is there's many active dinosaur digs that are actually still taking place. Guests can take a behind the scenes tour, they can see actual dinosaur beds, and it really is an unequaled concentration of dinosaur fossils that really make Dinosaur Provincial Park world famous. And many of the bones that are dug up on a yearly basis here make their way to the Royal Tyrrell Museum. So I really recommend combining a trip to Dinosaur Provincial Park and Drumheller as part of a great day trip out from Calgary. So from my end, that's kind of a quick tour around the province. Tried to kind of hit some of the highlights, obviously, and just wanted to thank you for the time. I know things are it's a busy time of year. Bookings are starting to kick in for summer. Yeah, thank you for your time, and I'm going to pass it back to Kimberly to talk about how you can book Alberta. I've also got my contact details there if you have any questions about Alberta specifically. More than happy to help.
Thanks, Ryan. I know that my son is super excited about making plans to visit the dinosaur park, and that brings me to a couple of questions that we have. So one question is, can travelers participate in a dig, or can they just watch?
So there's, yeah, they can do both. So what's really unique about that area is there's a couple of digs that they've uncovered that they've glassed in. So as you're doing these little walks around the park, you can actually see where they've actually uncovered a dinosaur, and they just sealed it in, so you can actually see where it's been uncovered. And then there is the behind the scenes tour. So there is packages within the TourRadar packages where you can actually go behind the scenes. And you can actually be part of the dig itself, or you can watch them uncover it. But you can actually get your hands dirty and help uncover those dinosaur fossils.
That sounds amazing. I have another question here. For a first-time visitor, what is the recommended length of stay to ensure you see the most sights?
Oh, that is a tough question. So I definitely recommend, at a minimum, through Alberta, you're going to want to do at least 4 to 5 nights. I think, especially if you're coming in, you're coming into Calgary or Edmonton, either a night there, and then you're going to want to do at least 2 nights in Banff or Lake Louise, and a couple nights up in Jasper as well. There's a lot to see. Your days are going to be pretty full. The nice thing is in Alberta, the sun doesn't set here until about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night in the summer. So you've got lots of opportunity to get out and enjoy the surrounding in the wilderness.
It sounds just so blissful, being in all that nature. And one of the advisors who has joined us today wants me to point out, don't forget you can ice skate on Lake Louise in the winter and go ice climbing on frozen waterfalls, which I've never even heard of climbing on frozen waterfalls, but that sounds spectacular.
Winter is a whole nother beast out here. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's that Chateau Lake Louise especially is the most iconic and scenic probably skating rink on the planet that freezes over. They Zamboni it, and they actually build a big ice castle right on the lake. And they also have an ice bar to keep you warm right beside the lake as well. Lots of winter activities to do, from dog sledding, cross-country skiing, fat biking, sleigh rides. Winter is a truly magical place out here, and that's a whole nother webinar that we'll have to do, Kimberly, on winter.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of interest in it. Well, good. I think we've got just a few minutes, and I do want to do a quick run through of how advisors can look and search for the best Alberta tours for their clients. Can everybody see my screen okay? You should see travelagents.tourradar. So that is the main location where our travel agents and our travel advisors will go to so that they can start their journey on TourRadar. As we like to say, adventure begins here. So when you're on travelagents.tourradar.com, really you can do two things. You can come over here and you can log in, and that will take you to your dashboard here. And you can kind of see if you've already created an account, you can check your bookings, you can see what bookings are coming up, any open questions, etc. But if you just want to start searching, you can just go to travelagents.tourradar.com and type in your destination. So today we're going to search for Alberta, and that will take you to the destination page. And as you can see, you'll start to see all the different tours that we offer. As Ryan mentioned, he was particularly focused on spring activities. So if you wanted to focus on spring, you could select departure dates and see what's available. The great thing about using TourRadar is that you can also search by group and by private. You can look for tours by guide type, so fully guided, independent, partially. You can also search by age range. And then Ryan mentioned some of the beautiful cities. You can scroll down and you can see some of the must-see cities that you want to make sure are really included in your clients' itineraries. I did pull a couple based off of the conversation that based off of what Ryan just shared with us. The Rocky Mountaineer is definitely worth checking out if you have a luxury client who wants to see the beautiful landscape. We've got lots of offers for the Rocky Mountaineer, including this beautiful one from Globus that starts and ends in Vancouver. So you can see that one. We have lots of Canadian Rockies. This one happens to start and end in Calgary. You can always scroll down and see more about the places that you're going to see or that your client's going to see. You can take a look at the map. You can see all of the highlights, the daily itinerary, and more. You'll see what's included, what's not included, who it's operated by. You'll have an opportunity to read reviews, and then you can check the availability if you want to book that for your client. Since we only have a few more minutes, I want to just double check if there's any more questions, and then we'll announce the winner of our Indigenous art that Tourism Alberta was so gracious to provide. So let me just take a quick peek. I'm not seeing any other questions. I do see a comment that says, don't forget Drumheller and Tyrrell Museum are great for big kids too. So thank you for sharing that information. If there's no more questions, I'm going to pass it over to Rahul, who will tell us who the winner is of today's artwork. Rahul.
Hello, everyone. Awesome to be here and learn all this about Alberta. I'm actually based in Toronto, and I'm on the website trying to book my trip to Alberta as soon as possible. And I just want to say thank you all for joining the webinar. And I have the honor of announcing the winner. And so the winner of the beautiful artwork courtesy of Tourism Alberta is Carla Vandenbrink. So congratulations. I hope you enjoy the artwork, and we will reach out to you to coordinate delivery on this beautiful art piece. So thank you and congrats.
Awesome. Thanks, Rahul, and thanks, Ryan. I put up Meet Your Team, and I realized that I neglected to include everybody else's email. So, but I do want to just point out who the team is. So Mark Busheger is our Senior Partnership Manager. He is our Europe lead, and all of our emails are just first name dot last name at tourradar.com. So if you're a European advisor, Mark is your point of contact. So please reach out, say hello, let us know if you have any questions or feedback. Gay Span just joined the team yesterday, so we're kind of throwing her into the lion's den here. She's our North America lead, and also will handle Australia and rest of world minus Europe. Rahul, who just announced our winner, he is our global support, so he helps us on all of our markets. And then myself, Kimberly Sturdivant, I'm the head of the advisor program, and we look forward to connecting and working with each and every one of you. It's because of you that our program is successful. So please reach out to us. Let us know of any questions or your feedback. And especially if you have any questions about Alberta, let us know. With that, we'll say thank you for your time. If you want to catch any of the portion of the webinar again, you can find a link to it on our website. Thank you so much.